Good afternoon, everyone. Nyia Harris here for Open Book with Nyia Harris. Thanks for tuning in to Power 104.7, your home for hip hop and R&B. In studio with me today, my guest is Sean Hurdle of the First 24. Sean Hurdle, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. It feels like forever ago we scheduled this, and now it's here.
Well, actually, when you scheduled it so far in advance, I thought, this is how I want all my appointments to be.
I'm nothing if not a woman of my word. So I'm glad that we made it happen. You're here today, and you're here to talk about a very important topic, a very timely topic. But before we get into that, we like to talk pop culture, world events. Like I told you a little bit ago, if things are negative, we're going to talk weekends instead. We want to keep it fun and light. So how was your weekend, sir?
It was a really good weekend. My aunt, 80-year-old aunt, came to visit my wife and I, and we really showed her the best, I think, of Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Okay. First time here?
It was her first time here.
Okay.
And so...
What did you do?
We went to the launch of Roland Nolan's Barbecue in their physical space in Midtown Global Market. We picked up Sean Sherman's new book. I actually knew somebody who works at the Indigenous Food Lab, so she got to kind of see me in my element.
Nice.
We ran into someone from the church that we knew, and then we took her to St. Paul. We found out that she's really into gangster culture, like the old gangster culture.
Okay, sure.
And so we went to the Wabasha Caves. We took a tour there.
Yeah.
And then we went on their 2-hour bus tour.
Oh, wow.
And so she really loved that. We went to a soup contest
Okay.
at a VFW in Lino Lakes. There was 13 different soups competing.
Okay. And
it wasn't what I anticipated. I'm thinking like watery, stocky soups. They were really thick and creamy.
Okay.
For example, the winner was something called Marry Me Chicken. And it was with tortellini, chicken, sun-dried tomatoes, and heavy cream.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was 2 bowls of it, and we're like really full. We were stuffed.
Yeah.
We also took her to some quintessential things like the Stone Arts Museum, different things like that. We took her to Burrito Mercado.
Okay.
West
sure.
St. Paul.
Yeah, I know where that is.
Staple.
Yeah.
I love sitting in a restaurant that's inside of a grocery store. That way, if I'm like, I need a little hot sauce, let me go over here and grab some. Let me go grab dessert right over here or whatever. So
yeah,
love that place.
That's
and
awesome.
So I think I dropped her off this morning at 5:30 in the morning at the airport, and I think she felt like it was an amazing weekend.
Okay, and you kind of get to see it through the eyes, like you get to be a tourist, even though you live here. You get to be a tourist. So sounds like she had a good time, huh?
Yeah, she had a great time. I mean, it's one of those things where when your aunt or family member or friend is at a little bit older in age, we want to respect our elders.
Yeah.
So when I'm trying to plan an itinerary, something to do, I really realize like, oh yeah, she might just want to hang out at the house for a while, at 6 p.m.
Yes.
And I don't even like to go out late. I try to get up early anyway.
Right.
And it was awesome to be able to share a fall soup that I made with her. It was a pumpkin ginger soup. Oh. And I think that was a highlight. I don't know why there's a soup theme for the weekend.
That is the theme of your weekend, John, is soups.
And she caught great weather. I mean, we haven't had really any low temps yet, so.
That was going to be my segue, by the way. Yeah. I mean, it's coming. Tomorrow is what they said.
This is the last day where people, if you're listening live, get out.
Yeah.
Get out.
You don't need to get out, but it's like you just need to be aware. Like, get your boots, your coat, all of that, because like the last few days, last couple of weeks, we've been able to kind of get away with like sweater weather.
Right. I didn't even need anything more than this today, but yeah I know it's been really nice lately.
Yeah, it's coming, but it's Minnesota, and it's December next week. So what else do we expect?
Right.
Anything else going on in your world?
Just excited. My wife is starting a business, so we're working on that together. Yeah. A little bit of travel for December, January. Nothing big, nothing crazy.
Where are you going?
I'm going to see my brother-in-law in North Carolina.
Okay.
For Christmas. Excited about that.
Okay.
And going to Nashville for a weekend in January.
Okay.
So excited about that too.
Awesome.
I've never been in Nashville.
To Nashville or to...
I've been in North Carolina, but I haven't really spent much time there either.
Maybe it's your turn to be the tourist then.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm taking full advantage of that.
He's going to take you around. So, yeah. Wonderful. We have Thanksgiving happening this week. You're my only guest of Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
What are you thankful for?
Oof. I'm thankful to be alive.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to be in the land of the living. It's my number one gratitude, and maybe it's because of my line of work.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's also just because of I think that our consciousness, if you will, or our ability to create is coveted throughout the universe. So our, being made in the image of God, being who we are, people want that, or entities want that. So we're coveted.
Yeah.
People want to be us. So I just want to take full advantage of that.
Okay. That's your, bringing that up, that, being in the land of the living, like, and what you do for work, right? I feel like there's like a tie in there, right? We were talking before the show got started. You and I have something in common. I lost my dad 4 years ago.
Yep.
You also lost your dad 4 years ago. Condolences to you.
Yeah, you as well.
And I just think the topic that we're about to dive into, it's just, again, it's so timely. And this is the time of year where people are thinking about people that they've lost. And you just don't know. You don't know if tomorrow is promised, or tomorrow is not promised, actually.
Right.
We should say it that way.
Right.
So we're going to get into it in just a little bit here. You going to stick with me?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick music break. We'll be back in just a bit. You're listening to Power 104.7, your home for hip hop and R&B. All right, we are back. Again, Open Book with Nyia Harris here. I am your host, Nyia Harris, and I'm with my guest, Sean Hurdle. I got to tell you, and I told my husband this too, my husband, Rasheem Harris, that a lot of the conversation, so I love this show because I love people. I love human interest. Like, I could listen all day to people's stories, right? But it's like what the audience hears, which is now live, versus like when we take a break and like the conversation continues. And I told my husband, I'm like, sometimes some of those conversations are so good. It's like, I wish it was still recording so people could hear, But you were just telling me you're related to somebody kind of famous.
Right. So
talk about it.
My mom's second cousin is Steve Harvey.
Yeah.
And it hasn't really helped us out at all. But he comes from West Virginia. That's where my mom's from as well. And a small, really small part of the country in the Appalachian Mountains, where I hear my aunt and uncles talking about, eating random food from the woods out there, like Beverly Hillbilly type
like a
stuff.
Squirrel or
squirrels, possums, turtles. I mean, all sorts of stuff.
Everything.
So really interesting, and it's funny because it parallels to my story in a lot of ways, because not only are they my parents, but my dad moved across the country from LA to West Virginia for work. He just felt like he was tired of LA. He wanted to take a break from it.
Yeah.
The LA area in general. And took a job as a respiratory therapist in a hospital. Met my mom, who was and still is a nurse. And that's how they met, fell in love, got married. And then he decided to convince her to move back to California.
Yeah.
Which is where I'm from. So 5 years ago, a friend and I were on the phone, and she said, "Hey, I kind of need a favor. Would you move to Minneapolis and occupy a vacant rental we have and help Jake with the building project?" That's her boyfriend.
Okay.
I'm thinking in my head, like, why would I give up everything I'm familiar with
in LA?
Right. Why would I give up everything in LA that I'm familiar with? It's in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like I want to get on a plane right now. That just seems like no one knows what's going on. This was in July of 2020.
Oh my gosh.
When we had this
so
phone
like right
conversation.
smack in the middle, because like everything went down like in like March of 2020.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is right after George Floyd. So
Sure.
what happened is I was calling them to see if they were good. They live a mile from George Floyd Square at the time.
Okay.
So I thought to myself, man, like, how cold could it really get? I mean,
And it's also, but you said July, right? So.
But I was going to move there and kind of just be there during the winter and kind of watch their house.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, we might go snowbirding and we need someone to watch the house." And
Yeah.
Jake's building a sauna and we have this vacant rental. We really could use the money. And
Yeah.
it was like, it couldn't get that cold. So I decided to say, let's do it. So I pack everything up. Next thing I know, I'm landing at MSP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I'm eager because it's October now. I'm eager to maybe see the changing of the leaves I heard about.
Yeah.
I still thought it was 1,000 lakes. I didn't know it was 10. A lot of people think it's 1,000 lakes, by the way.
Oh, okay.
And so,
Interesting.
I go outside to wait for my Uber, and I'm thinking, oh man, the air smells so fresh out here. And I'm still at the airport with jet fuel, but it smelled way better than like LA air.
Sure.
So I was living in downtown LA, adjacent, and LA for like 9 years at the time. So I take the Uber to the house, and meet up with my friend and her boyfriend and everything like that. And I'm like, you guys kind of live in the suburbs. They're like, no, this is South Minneapolis. Like, this is the city. But to me, it just felt like it was like a lot of houses. So I felt like I'm a stranger in a foreign land. Like, I don't know anything about this place.
Yeah.
And right away, Nyia, I started to feel kind of lonely. Because as you know, I'm an extrovert.
Yes.
I need people to feel normal. So I'm just trying to deal with that. And I thought back to my dad. I thought back to some words of encouragement he gave me because I told him, hey, Dad, I'm going to move across the country. I don't know for how long.
Yeah.
He's like, really? He's like, huh. He's like, you're going to move there and get married. And it was just like, okay. It was just like a divine download from God straight to my dad, a prophecy for me that it was up to me to choose whether to accept or not.
Huh.
And so it's one of those things where, are you going to lean in to that? Because he wasn't joking around, but he wasn't overly serious either. He wasn't pranking me. It was just like, it was just matter of fact. And so I was like, wow. And so then I realized too, hey, he moved across the country. So there's a parallel there. And maybe that's why he said, so I'm trying to rationalize it, but I just said, let me just not try to rationalize it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were coming to the house. You probably remember back that time, people were kind of meet up in their front yards, backyards. Everybody's working from home.
Yeah.
So people were coming over to like visit, to see this sauna we're building, also to meet the new guy, one of which was my friend's sister. So she comes over. Like a lot of people kind of came. My friend's pretty popular. None of us could think that her sister was thinking in her mind, I'm going to set Sean up with somebody. Like none of us were thinking that. Next thing I know, I had only been in town like 2 weeks at the time. Next thing I know, my friend's like, hey, you're going to go for a walk with my sister's friend. Because mind you, she was kind of trying to set me up already.
Yeah.
And so can you imagine this? You just moved to a new city. You're getting set up on a walking date. Now it's chilly outside. So you're bundling up and you're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So this is all that you have.
Is the eyes.
The stakes are really high. I don't know if you've ever been like an important job interview or whatever, but this kind of felt like a job interview because both of us were in our late 30s. Like, we're not messing around. You know, we each had a list and you better get those questions right.
Yeah.
But what started off really awkward turned into me really finding out that this person's really caring.
Yeah.
This person's really special. And not only are they caring, but like they seem to really care about me. So I go home and I'm imagining that my friends are gonna be waiting at the door, like a little puppy wagging their tail. Like, but they didn't even, it was almost like they didn't care. I'm like, hey, I'm back. Like nothing. They're in the kitchen. I said, hey, you know, she was a really special person. They're like, oh, okay, cool. And I said, you know, if she were willing, I'd marry this young woman tomorrow. And 5 months later, that's indeed what happened.
What?
My dad was the one on this time landing in MSP with my mom and a friend of mine actually as well. And we got married 5 months later.
Oh my word. Sean.
Isn't that insane?
Oh my God.
So it's been an amazing 5 years. I really feel, I love Minnesota. So I'm so happy to be here.
Wow, so many questions there. And how long have you been married now?
It'll be 5 years in April.
5 years in April. Okay. And I've met your lovely wife too. So yeah, you want to give her a shout out? Yeah,
Carmen Barnes. She kept her last name, which is great. Carmen Barnes, you are more caring than I even imagined that day, and you continue to impress me and help me grow every day.
What would you say? Because I'm all about love. You're learning this right now in real time. What do you love about her?
I love that we have some things that we're very similar about and some things that we're very different about. But at the end of the day, we're both willing to sit down and cherish the space in between, is what we call it. And honestly, it's the journey. I'm just so excited about the journey that we're taking together. Yeah. And I think that's what I love the most about her.
Yeah. Does your friend take credit for the...
oh, of course. And we give him credit. Yeah. We give credit where credit is due. And, you know, my wife Carmen is originally from Omaha. And so one of their gifts to us, that this group of friends, was this Wabasha Winona experience where they picked out certain places for us to go that were quintessential Minnesotan. Like, we stayed at this Grumpy Old Men motel room. So it was all themed like the movie Grumpy Old Men. Sure. And, so yeah, we give them credit, and they definitely take that credit.
I love that. What a great story.
Yeah, because if it wasn't for these two sisters, I wouldn't have moved here, and she wouldn't have got connected.
That's crazy.
Right.
Do you ever think about that, like divine intervention and like the stars aligning, and what if you What if you're like, what if you said no, you didn't want to go on the date? What if you said, no, I'm not going to move to Minnesota? You know what I mean?
All
You
the
think
time.
about that?
And all the time. And if I could encourage anybody listening that it might take a million different decisions for you to be where you're at right now. So cherish that moment. It took hundreds of people coming together for you to be where you're at.
Yeah.
So consider the moment, cherish the moment, take a deep breath, honor that space you're walking into, and you're meant to be there.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we can't let it overcome us, like thinking about how it all happened.
Yeah.
So just really honor the stillness in that moment and then what it can turn into, the potential for that moment.
That is so special. I love that. I love that. Well, as you mentioned, you're going to have your 5-year anniversary in April. I'm curious, like, got any big plans? Wait, don't answer that. Don't answer that. Why isn't he answering that? Well, we're going to switch to podcast mode. So I thank you so much for listening live right now on Power 104.7, your home for hip hop and R&B. We're going to go ahead and switch to podcast mode. But if you've enjoyed this episode so far, you're going to go to Open Book with Nyia Harris on YouTube. In just a couple of days, you'll see the entire episode in its entirety, edited by my podcast editor, Nate. And you can check it out. I thank you so much for listening. I thank you, Sean, for being here today. We're gonna talk in just a moment on the other side here. And I also want to give you a quick tee up for who's coming up, who's going to be my guest next week. I have Miss Denisha of the Model Boutique and Company. She'll be my guest next week, and I'm sure I'm in for a treat. What do you think, Sean?
I think so. I mean, you got to listen to Miss Denisha. I can't wait.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have a great, wonderful day, and we'll finish on the other side. And thank you for listening. All right. We are back in podcast mode with my guest, Sean Hurdle. Sean, what was our cliffhanger?
The cliffhanger was Carmen and I are going to be celebrating our 5-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And so you're curious about what we're going to do.
Yes, very nice. Sometimes people don't remember because like so much conversation during the break. Okay, so what are your plans? What are you going to do?
So we don't have any definite plans yet. I know we're like almost 6 months out. However, there is talk of us going to Africa. There's talk of us going to Africa.
Really?
Yeah. And
okay.
So she loves to travel.
Okay.
So pre-COVID, she went to a different country every year.
Oh, wow.
So literally, I don't know, like double-digit country numbers we're talking here.
So she's got quite a few stamps on her passport.
Quite a few. She actually has a little global poster where it's like a scratch-off. It was a gift. So when you look at it, you're like, oh, wow, you actually have been in a lot of places.
That's awesome.
However, when COVID hit, that started to dwindle. And then when we got married, that dwindled even more. And so she hasn't been able to do as much travel as she wants. And so she's really like,
itching to go somewhere.
We are planning to go to Alaska as well next year.
Okay.
So that might be the trip. So it's up in the air. But I do have a friend who is trying to organize like an Africa trip. I actually have two acquaintances that are organizing trips.
Okay.
And so
what parts of Africa? So
I have a really good buddy who actually a couple really good friends who are from Kenya.
Okay.
But I have a buddy who has a nonprofit organization, and they're forming a trip to go to the Ivory Coast. And then I have another friend who is planning some sort of speaking conference, and I can't recall. I mean, he's from Cameroon, but I can't recall where his trip is going to be going.
Okay.
So there's a lot of stuff kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, hey, international trips, you typically want to have this stuff locked in 6 months before. So that's why I say the Alaska trip might be it.
Okay. Well, as long as your passport's still good, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's good for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The world's your oyster, John.
Yes.
Yes. And, okay, so I'm not really sure how to segue, so we're just going to go over that.
Just dive in.
Okay, so Sean Hurdle is of the First 24, as I mentioned at the beginning of this program. And the First 24 is basically, we're just going to put it out there. Like, it's a very important, timely topic in the aftermath of losing a loved one, right? What do you do, right? And, of course, you're grieving, but what things are in place that can make life a little bit easier for you. So, I mean, take it away without further ado.
Yeah, bottom line, First 24 is immediate coverage planning. That's the bedrock. That's the formation of it. Because I've been working in financial services off and on since 2019. And what I've often seen is that your life insurance coverage isn't going to pay out right away. So the worst thing to have on top of everything else is not having immediate funds to be able to take care of what you got to take care of.
Yeah.
This person's final wishes, the funeral, the party, even if that person didn't want anything, like having funds available so you can take care of business. And I know we talked a little bit about this leading up to it where, hey, like let's be real here. Your friend or family members or your own remains have to be taken care of.
Yes.
And so whether it's a green burial or it's going to be put in an urn or put in the ground, someone's got to take care of that for you.
Right.
And so the next step would be, or whichever way you're going to plan it, is having everything in writing. Mm-hmm. So having your will, your trust, having your personal wishes kind of listed out so that your family knows, okay, here's what this person wanted. And there's more to it. Obviously, your medical directive has to be there. Your that sort of thing, like making sure like if someone's there, have to make decisions for you. Mm-hmm. That's part of it as well. But at the end of the day, what I found is that working in this industry, majority of life insurance policies take several weeks to pay out. So there's this segment of insurance. However, I don't think it's talked about enough, and I wanted to frame it in a way where what is your family going to do in the first 24 hours?
Yes.
So I'm really working with people who they know they want peace of mind.
Right.
That, hey, my family, they're going to know exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. And so I connect people with the services that they're going to need, and one of which is this concierge service. Mm-hmm. And so when my dad passed 4 years ago, he had this type of coverage, and when I saw how it works, that's when I decided, okay, I need to form some sort of brand, some sort of company that I could introduce clients to with this.
Yes. Okay. So let's jump back for just a second. We see a lot of GoFundMes in the immediate aftermath of someone passing suddenly, right?
Right.
And let's just be real. Let's talk honestly and openly. That's not always going to work, right? Like, and you're at the mercy of whomever sees this GoFundMe and if they have the means to contribute, right? And so let's be honest here. Like, what are we talking about when we talk about those different things? We wrote it down. To facilitate the burial process, right? So how much money is needed,
Yeah, I'd say the average in our country, it's probably like around $10,000, let's just say.
Okay.
And that obviously people have different wishes where they want to be in an urn or be put in the ground or have a big party, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. However, there could be a lot of other expenses that are outside of the burial, including like probate expenses. If the family doesn't have a trust and they have over a certain assets, if they're in a probate state, the state's just going to bring in a state-appointed lawyer to divvy up those assets.
Right.
And they're going to charge you a hefty fee. But you're exactly right. GoFundMe is not a strategy. It's really a reaction. And it was preceded by like car washes and preceded by other things like cookouts and things people would do to try to raise funds.
Yeah. And
it's one of those situations where you're going to be limited on what you can do. You unfortunately might be putting that money on a credit card, and now you're paying 20% interest just to bury a loved one.
Right.
And that's the opposite of generational wealth. That's generational debt. And so we're talking about some pretty inexpensive solutions here that could be, if you just put the plan together quickly, you could save not just money, but you're saving a lot of stress and anxiety, so people can move on.
Yes, I mean, like we talked about this a little bit before. We had a whole pre-conversation about this because I needed to learn more. But like, when someone passes away, you are immediately grieving, right? And you're not thinking with the most clarity, and you're what is it? Is it 6 or 7 stages of grief, right? Like you're going through all of these mixed emotions and things like that. But then you're also at the same time being asked to make these big decisions, right?
Right.
And so, what if you had more time? What if you had time to think about, well, what exactly do you want to do for your loved ones and your family, right? And so that's where my mind goes. And so I wrote it down, and you said it just a minute ago, but peace of mind. Exactly. That's what it is. That is what you're selling. So there's a target audience for this, though.
Right.
45 to 55 years old. Talk about that.
Yeah. So generally speaking, 45 to 55-year-olds, what we found is that they may be in the sandwich generation. So they may be older millennials, Gen X, who are taking care of kids and parents. So not only that, they've seen a thing or two. They've lost friends, family, relatives. So they might have been either close or far from that and kind of known some of the headache, heartache, that sort of thing. Yeah. But also, I think that I want to lean into even more specific populations where, like, for example, the immigrant population. And we have a strong, beautiful immigrant population here in Minnesota. And so I think people in that age range who are also immigrants are people that we've found that this is a great service for.
Okay.
However, I think 45 to 55 years old, because I'm like right there.
I am too. I just had a birthday.
I'm 43.
Okay.
And so
Just turned 45.
and so you're there. So it's like, we've all seen, you were at a funeral today.
Right.
And so it's one of those things where we get it. So peace of mind is more real, but we also might have younger ones that we need to take care of, that we want that peace of mind for them too.
Yeah.
And so I found, to be frank, that most people are, you talk about finances, legal stuff. There's some shame there. There's some pride there.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, is your ego more important than peace of mind? This is the question that people have to ask themselves.
Say that part again. That's like a gem right now, Sean.
Yeah.
Say that part again.
Is your ego more important than peace of mind?
Yeah.
And this is, any relationship, business, it all comes down to a mental game. It's all mental. And so it's one of those things where, in my personal life, I could be very candid. This is after I was the open book. In my relationship, in my finances, my family, when I'm capable of putting my ego down, that's kind of where I see that growth. I see that connection. Like I talked about protecting the space between my wife and I. Like that space between is more important than my ego. I don't always have the capacity to live that out. But when it comes to this, when I talk with people and we're doing surveys and we're connecting with people, sometimes people are saying, "Oh, my mom is good, but I want this for my kids." But what about mom though? Right? Because you're still going to be the one with your siblings or whoever making sure mom's estate is settled.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've seen, and that's why I think that market responds so much. Because I didn't really choose that market. That's the market that kind of needs this the most.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that for just a second too. When you have siblings and you're dealing with this type of thing, we talked about that earlier, right? In our little pre-conversation about that has torn families apart, right? Not knowing how things are supposed to be divided up or what mom's wishes were or dad's wishes or whatnot. Talk about that.
Yeah. So I'm going to look at my phone here because I have a checklist here. One of the things that if you have your immediate coverage, if you have the will and the trust set up, so you have some financial stuff there, you have the legal stuff there in writing. But like what you just brought up is that relational dynamic. So you have siblings or another parent or like who knows what kin you have that you're working with for this to settle this person's estate. What if you sort of knew what that person's personality type was? So my wife is a Enneagram coach, and shout out to my wife. What we found is that it might be beneficial, and we're still kind of testing this. It might be beneficial for people to know what personality type they're dealing with. So maybe one person is more of a leader in these challenging situations. Maybe one person needs a little more time to process things. Knowing that ahead of time, we think is a total game changer and could help preserve that relationship. So you already have the trust set up. You kind of know what assets are going where. But now it's like, how do we actually play this game now? How do we actually become a team? How do we work as a team now to make sure that we can do the funeral, we can bring the other family in, we can fly everybody in, whatever needs to be done.
Right.
And so I think that's really huge. Another thing that we talked about too is, what about all the digital landscape?
Yes.
So I don't know about you,
Passwords.
but I have a ton of apps on my phone, and some of them and they're pretty practical, like Nerd Wallet and online banking, all this type of stuff. So we really promote a concierge service, and it's life insurance. It's a life insurance company. You get immediate coverage, you get a cloud storage, but also you just call the phone number when your loved one passes away. They have a proprietary list of all the funeral homes in the U.S. So they're going to fight for you. They're going to vouch for you and find the best rate according to that person's wishes that they already have. Okay. So let me give you the scenario. And you gave me this idea. When my dad passed, I was with my mom. And so we could have gone two different directions. We could have gone the direction of having no concierge service, just trying to find the best funeral home that's close by, because he was at the morgue in the hospital. So we had to make some decisions of, well, where do we send the remains?
Yeah.
Okay. So who's going to call? Are you going to call? Oh, you're going to call. Well, what about the other long list of stuff that we have to do?
Right.
So when my dad passed, they had literally just moved. They had a pod in the street full of furniture, and movers were showing up the morning after my dad passed. So we had two movers showing up to help unload this pod, and just a lot of stuff happened. So, or we could have gone the direction that we actually went down, and we were able to call a phone number. They took care of all the funeral home arrangements and moving the remains over and all that sort of stuff, so that we were able to just focus on, okay, how do we take the Facebook page down? How do we change the bank account information? While we had movers there moving everything. And like I told you, things happened. The pod door didn't open right away. Someone had to climb into the pod and open it from the inside. My phone fell out of my pocket and broke. I mean, it was just, my brother's flying in. Someone's got to pick him and his wife up from the airport, you know? So
you're trying to make phone calls to other loved ones to let them know that your father's passed.
Right. And his wishes were he didn't want to have a funeral. So people were really upset that they couldn't come fly out and go to the funeral because there wasn't going to be one. And that was his wishes. And so I think that's really where people have to decide, what path am I going to take?
Right.
What, am I going to take this path with my mom, or am I going to leave my kids having to do such and such? Or can I just give that peace of mind for pennies?
Yes. Okay. So let's dig into that, like the numbers, right? So there's a certain demographic that you're kind of targeting, like I said, 45 to 55.
Right.
You said that referred to them as the sandwich generation. But there's also like an application of questions that you basically have to qualify for to see if this is a service that can even benefit you. Talk about that.
Yeah. And so First 24 plan, what we're going to do is we're going to connect you to the services that you need within our reach. So we're going to connect you to the fiduciary. We're going to connect you to the genealogist. We're going to connect you to the lawyer, you know, to help you with your estate plan, your will, that sort of thing. The service that we use for immediate coverage is a life insurance product. And so the application is really just a list of questions, because for those who don't know, all life insurance companies have access to everybody's permanent record. And if you ever want a copy of that permanent record, you can call the same company they use and they'll send it to you. For example, if a doctor's ever prescribed you something, whether you ever fulfilled that prescription or not, that's on your permanent record. That means that a licensed physician has prescribed you something. And that shows up on your permanent medical record.
Okay, so I have a question about that. While I'm teeing up the question here, I also want to point out you're parking. Sean's parked on the street, and we don't want him to get a ticket.
Thank you. I can do it digitally.
But my question for you is, so you said if the doctor has ever prescribed anything to you, whether you took it or not, whether you fulfilled that prescription or not, it's on your permanent record. Right. So that also means then that if you ever took something or were prescribed something, no longer needed the medication, and it was years and years and years ago.
Right.
That's on your record as well.
That still shows up. So let's say, I don't know.
High blood pressure medication.
Great example. Okay. You could, now they're gonna take into consideration your current BMI and height and weight and blood pressure, your current record. But yeah, they're still going to factor in, the underwriters are still going to factor in that you were prescribed blood pressure medication this many years ago. And
you might potentially be a risk for them.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, they're going to ask you questions like, okay, so what was your mom like? What was your dad like?
Yeah.
Like, do your parents have life insurance? How much do they have?
Yeah. What's the family history?
Like, for example, most life insurance companies won't give a child coverage if the parent doesn't have a certain amount of coverage. Right? And some people say, well, why would I put life insurance on my kid? Well, there's a lot of reasons.
I know the reason.
There's a lot of reasons.
Okay, so the reason I was told, the reason you would put a life insurance on a child is because it'll never be as cheap as it could. That's the cheapest it'll ever get, is like when the child is as young as they are. Yep. So I think for my kids, I actually worked for a life insurance agent part-time back in the day or whatnot. And so that's how I knew that. But for both of my girls, I think they at 3 and 6 months respectively, pretty young. Like that's like really young, right? And they still have those policies. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely. And then, so back to the medical record thing. So you can reach out, and I don't know if you can contest anything. That's a whole other thing. I don't know, but that's part of it. So when we go through this application with people, it's, are you currently confined, hospitalized, or in a nursing facility?
Okay.
Have you ever been medically advised to have an organ transplant? And these questions are longer. I'm just giving you the
gist.
Have you ever been medically treated or diagnosed for HIV?
Okay.
Now, if you pass those 3 questions, then you go to the next ones. So, right? Okay. If those are all no, you go to the next ones. So, for example, I've had multiple people in the last year ask me, "Hey, I want to get a policy for a family member." Okay, cool. Like, well, tell me about them. They're in a nursing facility, like, or they have dementia. Like, there's nobody going to cover your family member that has dementia, right? Have you ever been medically or diagnosed or treated for diabetes? Have you ever taken medication for renal insufficiency? So like kidney problems, kidney failure. Mm-hmm. Within the last 2 years, have you had a diagnostic testing related to HIV for which results have not been received?
Okay.
And so this is just a little bit of the examples. But if you answer no to all of these,
yes,
we put the application in.
Yes.
And so like you said, the same reason you listed for your kids, it being the lowest cost, age is a factor. It's not just health.
Yeah.
So the younger you are, the better, the healthier you are, the lower the cost of insurance is going to be.
Right.
And so that's why I said it potentially could be pennies on the dollar. You're 45 to 55 years old. I mean, we know the statistics. Anybody can Google how long someone's supposed to live in the United States, right? Women are at some age and women are at another age.
Yeah.
And so these life insurance companies are super smart. There's no messing around. So why not maximize it and pay $50 a month, $40 a month, whatever, to have a few $1,000s for your family while you're waiting for that bigger policy to pay out?
Yes. Statistics show that, I think, just want to jump back for a second, that women live longer than men. Is that still the case?
Right, it is, yeah.
Yeah. By how many years? I'm curious.
I mean, I can Google it right now. It's. Have you ever seen any of those memes where it says, "This is why men live less"?
Oh,
because men are out there going up to a lion and all this type of stuff or whatever it is. I'm sure you've seen some of this type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But real talk, I think there's a lot of factors.
Yeah.
I mean, in America, unfortunately, it might just be due to like men just aren't going to the doctor. We're not talking about physical health, mental health, financial health. I mean, we're not talking about any of the healths.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So women are much more likely to go to the doctor if something's wrong as opposed to a man, maybe.
And that's why there's actually statistics that show that single men are even worse off.
Okay, I had heard this before about married men. Married men will live longer than a single man.
My wife is literally like, we need to go get a sleep study done.
Okay.
Because we might both have sleep apnea. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to wear some mask at night.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I'm a much softer sleeper than I used to be. I'm wearing purple earplugs, and unfortunately, however, I know we have Inspire or Insperity.
Inspire, I think.
Inspire. They can put that little thing right here, and so you don't have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
I actually know one of the IT guys there.
Oh.
I'm like, that sounds like a pretty stressful IT job.
Yeah.
Like you're making sure people's monitors are online. That sounds like a pretty important IT job.
For sure.
Shout out to the homie Joshua. So anyway, so I think the first 24 plan, I was thinking about this on the way here. We almost don't want to work with anybody if they don't want to do that immediate coverage piece.
Okay.
Right? If you don't want to do that immediate coverage piece, then you just might not be the right client for us. I mean, we'll still refer you to lawyers that we know, fiduciaries that we know, financial planners, whatever the situation may be. But our ideal client wants that peace of mind. So,
okay, it's obviously going to be different for everybody, right? What their rate comes back as, but what's the average rate that it comes back as for, like, say $20,000, right, of immediate coverage?
Depends.
It just depends.
It depends because it's going to be different for every age.
Yeah.
However, we could tell somebody, we can ask someone like 2, 3, 4 questions, and we'll be able to give them a quote.
Okay.
Right? And as long as they didn't answer one of the questions wrong or forget that someone told them, you might want to get that kidney replaced.
Yeah.
Then it'll be pretty close to that quote.
Okay. I like real numbers though.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like anybody asks you a legal question, a financial question.
Yeah.
The answer is always, it starts with, it depends.
It depends. Could you say this? It's not more like monthly expense wouldn't be more than.
Well, the client can choose.
Okay.
Right. So we give somebody a quote for, we have their age, we have their height and weight, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And then we give them, okay, for 15, it's this, for 20, it's this, for 10, it's this.
Okay, so then you are really, as the client, then you get to kind of pick and choose, okay, this is what works for my budget, my monthly budget. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
That way you're like, hey, I'm 45
in
God's going to give me 40 more years. God's going to give me 50 years. I'm going to be 95. So maybe it would be better to have 20,000 as opposed to 10 because it's going to be more expensive to have a funeral in 50 years, whatever that is, right?
Yeah, inflation, all of that.
But yeah, the client gets to choose.
Yeah.
And so that's the basic thing. And so there's flexibility.
Okay.
There's flexibility in the monthly payment you're going to pay.
I tried to nail them down, you guys.
But give us a call. You go to the website first24plan.com.
Yeah.
You fill out the form, and we'll contact you within 24 hours. A licensed agent will contact you within 24 hours.
Okay.
Because I'm building a team. I'm building a team of licensed agents that can help me and other folks for the company. Because I want to have a beautiful directory, soon, hopefully by third quarter next year, where people can go online and say, hey, I need a fiduciary in my area. I need an estate attorney in my area. And I can kind of try to plug people into that.
Okay.
But for now, we're really just focusing on the immediate coverage foundation. And then we have some other tools. We have a company called Prime we work with that can help people get their will and their trust at a probably half the cost from sitting knee to knee with a lawyer.
Yeah.
However, you can get all your questions answered if you pay premium and you sit in a lawyer's office, obviously.
I really want people to hear that part, though. I want them to hear the part that, like, it can be peace of mind for you. You don't know what's going to happen. The pastor today, as you mentioned earlier, that I was at a funeral earlier, that we all have heard the phrase, tomorrow is not promised, right? But he said, really and truly, it's minute by minute. You don't know if the next minute is promised, right? And so to have that peace of mind on your side, my hope for everybody is that they don't have to use a GoFundMe, right? I think the whatever the cost is, it's got to be worth it to know that you have money that is there and available for the inevitable, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? Yep. We're all going to go someday. And
it's one of those things, Nyia, where when it comes to the money, you're putting $40 a month into this thing. In a way, you're getting most of that money back, if not all, if not more, right? So if people can do the math on their own, you're paying $40 a month for 10 years. Okay, then maybe shoot for that amount of premium or that amount of death benefit. Right. So it's like you're just paying this company to hold the money for you.
Right.
And you're getting the ability to call them right away.
Yes.
And you're getting this unlimited storage.
Yes.
Digital storage. So that's the way I look at it for a lot of clients. I tell them, hey, look, it's almost like this company's just forcing you to, or helping you
save.
It's helping you save the money.
Yes. Along with some other things too. But it's just so important. It's so important. And unfortunately, people think about it way too late. Right. As you just mentioned earlier, someone calling saying, well, this person's in the nursing home. Well, obviously that would not be a good bet for a life insurance company to insure someone who's in a nursing home, because they're on their way out, basically.
Right. And hopefully we get to the point as a company where we have some resources for those people too. Yeah. However, at the end of the day, if you don't plan, then you're going to have to pay the price on that. Yeah. Right. And so it's quite literally when the person passes away, you do have to pay to transfer the remains to the funeral home, and you do have to pay the funeral home. Right? Yes. And I work with funeral homes too. I work with funeral homes because someone may utilize this service for immediate coverage. They know where the money's coming from, and I'm like, and they want to work with the funeral home right there in their neighborhood. That's great. Okay. You already have a plan. The good thing is you go with our immediate coverage company. You could be in another country, minus like 7 countries, and they'll fly the body back to the U.S. And that's part of it. You're not paying extra for that. Okay. Wow. Right. And also, what if they're in a different county? What if they're visiting somebody else? They'll find the cheapest cost in that area. Unfortunately, it boils down to the money, but it really doesn't, because it really boils down to the peace of mind and not putting your family through that additional stress. Okay. I want to do a role play with you with our last 5 minutes. Sure. Okay. I'm going to be client A. We'll call me Alice. Okay. I'm client A, Alice. And I'm going to connect with you. Sure. About this. All right. Ring, ring. Hi, this is Sean. Hi, Sean. This is Alice. I've been thinking about, getting some immediate coverage, and I don't know. I don't like thinking about death. It's too sad. Alice, did you find out about us on the Open Book with Nyia Harris? I sure did. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's fantastic. Thanks for listening to that.
Do I get a discount for that?
We'll talk about that. But I think your head's in the right place. If you're already thinking about immediate coverage, then you're already thinking about the peace of mind that I can provide your family. So one of the first things that we like to talk about with our clients is the immediate coverage, and there's more we can talk about, but let's start there. And what we can do is let's set up a 15-minute call. I'll lead you through all the details of this immediate coverage company we work with. I'll give you a quote on how much it costs, and then you can kind of make a decision from there.
But John, I mean, death is just so sad. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't really want to talk about it. I know I need it though.
Right. Well, I think when we talk about, and this is for you, right, Alice?
Yes.
This is a coverage for you. Okay.
Yes.
We don't really have to go into the details about death. We can specifically, just in this conversation, talk about the numbers, how much it'll cost to provide that peace of mind for your family. And I'll stay in touch with you after that. I like to check with my clients every quarter or every year. And someone from my team will contact you, and we'll find out when you do have capacity to talk more about it. Does that sound good?
That sounds good. Thanks, Sean.
I can understand. I also don't like I don't love talking about death, but I think that if I check in with you and find out that capacity, I think maybe we'll find a time that works for you.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks, Sean.
At least we'll get this coverage locked in, and we'll get you the price for how old you are now. We don't want to wait till next year.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sean. Goodbye. I wanted to see what your rate. By the way, we should take a bow there. Did you ever take drama classes or anything like that?
Actually, I was in a number of performances at a church I used to go to when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never took an acting class. But yeah, I wanted to see your response to someone because I know that that's a real thing. I know that's a real thing that people don't want to talk. They don't want to talk about not being here.
Yeah.
Sean?
I think, I'm so happy you brought that up because as you know, with your coaching and different people you work with, being in the business, it's good to have that objectivity. It's good to have someone give me that perspective because I honestly hadn't thought about it much.
Yeah.
I lost my dad 4 years ago, so I've been thinking about this all the time.
Right. Same with me.
And so
yeah.
I think it's like for the events that you're hosting and moderating, like you probably really benefit from some of that objectivity and some of that perspective because you're in it. Mm-hmm. And so I really appreciate you saying that because that could form whole different strategies I use to market the service.
Yes.
Right. That could help really form that. I really hadn't thought about that, Nyia. That's powerful. And it's so true.
Glad I could help.
Yeah.
I appreciate this conversation so much. If there's any takeaway, well, before I say what my takeaway is, I want to hear from you, Sean. What's your takeaway from having had this conversation today? I mean, because obviously this is your business, you talk about it, but what's your takeaway today? I think that just having the platform to be able to talk more about it and dive in, especially in this nature, where I feel comfortable. Like I visit this building regularly, and then we've known each other for a couple of years now. Yes,
I think that the platform, I just want to honor it. The space, I'm just so grateful to be able to have this. But also, I think what you just gave me, that perspective you just gave me, is probably my biggest takeaway. Not only because it was one of the last things we talked about, but also because it is something that I hadn't thought about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My takeaway from this conversation, thank you for that, by the way, Sean. My takeaway is that I don't want to say, I feel like if you have heard this today, you've got to do something. That a GoFundMe is not a strategy, like you said, and that it is incumbent upon you to not put that stress, that burden on your family members and your loved ones. If you love them, set up a plan of some sort, even if it's $5,000. I don't know what the minimum is, but something, because you don't want to put your family in a position where they have to create a GoFundMe for you or for anyone else. And so my hope, my goal is that this message goes far and wide, and that it doesn't have to be this big scary conversation. That it's about being real. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, it's not about if. It's about when.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yes.
Thank you, Nyia.
Of
Thank you so
course.
much.
Of course. Again, timely topic. So thank you for that, Sean. Sean has been my guest today. Thank you, Sean. Like I said, next week, Miss Denisha of The Model Boutique and Company, we're going to talk to her all about her business and her becoming a model and her rise to fame and all of that. I'm excited for that conversation. But I thank you to the listeners, to the watchers, to everyone who's been a part of Open Book with Nyia Harris, who've supported this platform, Power 104.7, Nate, my podcast editor, just everyone. I truly, truly love people. I genuinely love people. I love people's stories. I'm a human interest person, like at heart. I love a documentary. I love going a little bit deeper and learning more about people. And I hope you learned a little bit more about my guest today, Sean Hurdle, his life and his work that he's doing. That's ultimately, I mean, it is changing lives. So
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody. Have a great rest of the day.